Alrighty folks, thanks for checking in here at Stormtopia.com for the daily forecast video. Of course, all eyes are on the potential East Coast snowstorm. Let's go over what we know right now. That a major East Coast snowstorm is not likely. Alright folks, that's not how this thing is going to work out. And I'm going to talk about that when we go over the models. The best chance for any snow would be in the eastern Ohio Valley and portions of the eastern and central Great Lakes, not the East Coast, and really not the Northeast as a whole. Now the big deal is a strong coastal low is the most likely scenario, delivering strong winds and heavy rain for coastal communities. Let's go over today's forecast and tomorrow's forecast first. Today it's going to be a beautiful day, highs in the 60s, 70s south, mix of clouds and sun, rather chilly depending on where you are. And Alberta Clipper is going to be pushing off to our west, which could deliver some snow to the North Country tomorrow of northern New England, a mix of rain and snow. A few snow showers or flurries are possible, or just showers of rain are possible a little bit to the south, but overall not a bad day at all. Let's go over the latest guidance. Alright, take you on over to my browser, and what I'm going to do here is start you off with the GFS. Alright, now let's see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start you off on 69 hours out. So at 69 hours out, what's going on? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom you in to the center of the storm, and what you can see is that we've already phased two low pressure systems. Here they are across South Carolina. As you go on in through time, they push off. There goes my model loop. They push off to the northeast, and this is a pretty strong coastal low up in this region. I mean, this could be some intense winds battering southern New England. This could be intense winds battering the upper mid-Atlantic. It's at this point actually still over land, so it's not as strong as it could be. Here it is. It sort of spreads out. The precipitation really spreads itself out. It's kind of got that kind of looks like a giant serpent or a cobra rising out of the dead here as we get into the 19th. Alright, and at this point it's starting to interact with some cold air back in this region. Now I'll zoom you in, and you can see that it's actually trying to change things over to snow in here. It's kind of hard to see. If you go ahead and through time, we would end up maybe on this solution with a couple inches back in this region. But you gotta realize is that the ground is warm, so it's gonna have trouble accumulating at the start. Here we have the rain clearing out, and this is by the early morning hours of the 20th of October, and takes most of the day on the 20th to clear our way out. So that was the GFS. Let's take a look at the European. This is the latest and greatest Euro. Alright. Here's a storm forming. I'm going to zoom you in, as I always love to do, and you can see that at this point, here we are in the early morning hours of the 19th of October. The storm is already developing across the southeast. All right, pushes off to the northeast and continues to strengthen, but it doesn't. The two lows don't really phase until they're up in this region, so that way it's not as strong as the GFS when it's pushing through the northeast, but it's still interacting with some cold air, so we get a little bit of snow on the backside. Really not a huge snow producer. Most of the snow might end up falling in Canada. Here's the storm. Now it's starting to look more intense like the GFS. Alright, as it's had that same time as the GFS developed over here, it took that long to develop over Canada, because it's in Atlantic Canada by this point. Let's go to the Canadian. Alright. Do here is load you up a new run of the Canadian. And the Canadian's been kind of nutso with the storm so far. It's continuing that trend today. We've got it developing as a pretty substantial low pressure system, really offshore, much more offshore than the other models. And it ends up pushing right over New England. It's a pretty intense storm. Strong winds, heavy rain, almost looking like a tropical system, but of course it's not. What I find more interesting on the Canadian is that it's so intense and it just flies northward that we're seeing some intense cold air spreading the farthest south it has this season all the way into the deep south. I mean, I'll zoom you on out here, And here we have, this is Mississippi, this is Alabama, no, that's Mississippi. Here's Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, and you can see we're really lacing that cold air into there. Meanwhile, the storm is raging up in this region. Now the thing with the Canadians actually, that as much cold air drains into the south, there isn't really much snow in the eastern Great Lakes. Now, which one do I think will verify best? Somewhere in a mix between the GFS and the Euro. I think the GFS is maybe a little bit too strong and has a little bit too much snow in the eastern Ohio Valley, but I do think they'll get some. Alright everybody, that's it for now. Thank you for watching.